Hello, my name's Lucas, welcome to LK Tuition, and today we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting fractions. Hope you're well, and let's get cracking. Okay, so adding and subtracting easy fractions. Now it's very easy to add fractions together if their denominators are the same. So for example, we've got 3/7 plus 2/7, well that's just going to be 5/7. Yeah, and also 3/7 take away 2/7, well that would just be 1/7. You just add them up as you would anything else. And that is only possible because the denominators are the same, they're both over 7. Notice that we keep the denominator the same and then we just add or subtract the numerators. So if we get fractions where the denominators are different, we want to make them the same. And so we have seen this in a previous video, but let's just read through it. So much like when we divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number to simplify a fraction, we can also go the other way by multiplying the denominator and numerator by the same number and timesing up. And the reason we'll do this is we can do this with two different fractions to get them over the same denominator. And the way we do that is we find a common multiple. Okay, so for example, if you've got 1/2 and 2/3, the denominators are 2 and 3, so you want to find a common multiple, which could be 6. So to get 2 to 6, you times by 3. So for 1/2, you times the top and the bottom by 3. And then 3 to get to 6, you times by 2. So for 2/3, you times the top and bottom by 2. And then they'll both be over 6. And then you can add them, take them away easily. Okay, so adding and subtracting fractions. So number one, use the technique from the previous slide to make the denominators of both fractions the same. Then add or subtract the numerators and keep the denominator the same in your answer. And then afterwards you might have to do a bit of tidying up. So you might have to simplify the fraction if it can be simplified, and you might have to turn it into a mixed number if it's now an improper fraction, which basically means the top is bigger than the bottom. Okay, and then you can also add or subtract mixed numbers by turning them into improper fractions first. Okay, so let's just do a couple of examples. So question 1 then, it's 1/4 plus 3/10. So we want a common multiple of these denominators 4 and 10, and that is going to be, if we look at the lowest common multiple, which will make our calculations easier, that's going to be 20. So let's make these both over 20. Now how have I got from the first one to 20? Well, 4 to get to 20, I've timesed it by 5. So I want to times the top by 5, and 1 times 5 is 5. The second one, how have I got 10 to 20? Well, I've times by 2. So times the top by 2, and 3 times 2 is 6. Then it's pretty easy to do 5 plus 6 is 11, so it's 11 over 20, and that can't be simplified, so that is our answer. Okay, number 2, 11 over 12 minus 3 over 4. Now we want a common multiple of 12 and 4, but what I'm noticing is that 4 goes into 12, so 12 is a multiple of 4, so we can actually leave the first one the same, and we can just make 4 match up to 12. So how do I get from 4 to 12? I times by 3. So let's do 3 times 3, which is 9. Then I can just do 11 take away 9, which is 2. And 2 over 12 can be simplified if I divide top and bottom by 2 to 1 over 6. And that's my answer to that one. Okay, next one. So we want to do 2 and 5/7 plus 4 1/2. Now there's a couple of ways of doing this, but let's do the method that we've said. So let's first turn it into an improper fraction. So 2 and 5/7, we do 2 times 7, which is 14, plus 5 is 19, so this is 19 over 7. And then 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, plus 9 over 2. Now we want to make them over the same number. So 7 and 2, a common multiple is 14. So let's make them both over 14. How do I get from 7 to 14? I times by 2. So let's times 19 by 2 to get 38. And from 2 to 14, I times by 7. So let's times 9 by 7, which is 63. Then I can add them up. 38 plus 63 is going to give me 101 over 14. And if I divide by 14, I'm going to get a mixed number. What am I going to get? 84, 98 is going to be 7 3/14, I think, if I've done my division right. Okay, so that's one method. Another way of thinking about it is if you add and subtract. Now this might become a bit more complicated, but let's find out. So we've got 2, so I'm doing the same question, 2 5/7 plus 4 1/2. Well, we know that 2 and 4 are whole numbers, and if we add them together, we're going to get 6. So let's keep that 6 in mind, and let's just add 5/7 and 1/2. Okay, so we're using the same technique. We want them both over 14. And 7 times 2 is 14, and 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 7 is 14, 1 times 7 is 7. So that's going to be 17 over 14, or 1 3/14. And then you can just bring these two ideas together then, and that will give you this 7 3/14. So you're not ending up with, because we ended up with quite nasty numbers here. So there's different ways of doing it, but I think this method where you turn it into an improper fraction works every time. So as long as you're happy with multiplying, adding, and then dividing with a remainder, I would stick to this method. But if not, you might prefer this method where you kind of bring the whole numbers together first. Okay, all right, well finally then, we're just going to do question number 4. So 7 5/6 minus 4 5/8. So first let's turn them into improper fractions. 7 times 6 is 42. 42 plus 5 is 47 over 6. And then 4 times 8 is 32 plus 5 is 37 over 8. Okay, we want a common multiple of 6 and 8. What's that going to be? 24, I think, is the best bet for that. So put them both over 24. It doesn't matter what the common multiple is, but obviously if they're bigger, because 48 is a common multiple, but that's going to make your maths a lot more difficult. Okay, so from 6 to 24, I've times by 4. So let's do 47 times 4, which should be 188. And then 8 times is 3 to get 24, and 37 times 3 is going to be 111, I think. Let's double check that, 90, 21, yeah, I think that's right. Then we do 188, take away 111, which is 77 over 24. And then that will simplify to 24, 48, 72, 3 and 5 over 24, I think. Okay, great. Right, let's try a couple of word examples. So number 1, Gemma spent half of her money on a Dua Lipa concert, so half of her pocket money. She then spent 2/9 of her pocket money on a t-shirt at the concert. So part A says, what fraction of her pocket money did Gemma spend overall? Well, she spent half, and then she spent 2/9. So we just want to add these up together. So again, we want a common denominator, and a common denominator, a common multiple of 2 and 9 is 18. 2 I've times by 9, so 1 times 9 is 9, and 9 I've times by 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. So altogether, she has spent 13 out of 18 of her pocket money. Pocket money. Okay. Part B says, what fraction of Gemma's pocket money does she have left? Well, if she's used 13 out of 18, how many more 18ths have we got left? Well, to get up to 18 from 13, you add 5. So 5 out of 18 left. Okay, great. And let's finish off with one more example. So on Friday night at La Fooderia restaurant, half of the customers ordered a soup as a starter, and a third of the customers ordered vegetable soup. What fraction of customers ordered a soup other than vegetable? Well, that's just going to be all of the soup, which is half, take away how many ordered vegetable, which is a third. Yeah, so we want the number, well, the fraction of customers that ordered a soup that was not vegetable. So we take all of the soup, and then we take away the vegetable ones. So again, we want the bottom to be the same, and a common multiple of 2 and 3 is 6. So let's put it over 6. 2 times 3 is 6, so 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 times 2 is 2. And 3 take away 2 is 1, so 1/6 ordered a soup other than vegetable. Okay, so hope that was helpful. So remember, to add or subtract fractions, you want to make the denominator the same, and then you can just add and subtract them easily. Okay, so this has been LK Tuition. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll be back soon with some more maths videos.